is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty from Ty Drives, and sitting in front of us is the all-new 2025 Kia K4, and this is the replacement for the Kia Forte. So all new vehicle for 2025, and we're going to be taking a look at all the features this vehicle has to offer, starting on the outside, then moving under the hood and the trunk. We'll then check out the rear seats and of course all the technology in the front seats. And this one is finished in the very cool Morning Haze exterior color with an even more cool green cloth interior, so make sure you stick around for this video. Now, in case you're wondering how the K4 drives, we're also going to be driving this car in a totally separate video, so you can either wait to the end of this video to see a link for that, or head on over to my channel, Ty Drives, for more. But let's get straight into it with the styling on the front end. You can see definitely a Kia up front, kind of a flat nose to this car, but it's still got kind of that tiger nose grille, and then some black cladding down below. Take a look at these headlights though. Very nice looking full LED units. So you've got LED daytime running lights, turn signals, and high and low beams. They look really good, all illuminated in the shade. Taking a look up at the hood, again, kind of a flat style for the hood. It kind of comes down like this, and then there's kind of a curve that goes down into the front grille. Pretty cool looking. And we do have some black cladding around the wheels and down the bottom of the doors to protect your paint. Now, we're working with 17-inch wheels on this EX trim level, and the EX is kind of the top of the line for now until we get the GT line or GT version of this car. And this is wrapped in 225/45 rubber. Taking a look down the side, we have our mirrors. And up top, our roof. No sunroof on this car, but we do have the shark fin antenna up there. And if we spin around, you can see we do have blind spot warning in our mirrors, as well as smart key entry on both of the front door handles. Just tap to unlock and also tap to lock. Quick glance at the window sticker reveals a $25,320 sticker price, including destination. And this pretty much just comes as an EX does. There's not really a whole lot of options on the EX trim. If we take a look back further, where is the door handle? It's usually right about there. It's actually in our pillar, so you can kind of open it up right there. Very interesting. And we have this really hard body line that goes all the way up to the roof. Kind of a 90-degree angle there. It gives it a really, really interesting look at this kind of corner of the car. Just really quirky styling all the way around on this car, and it kind of flares it up a little bit in an otherwise kind of boring segment of smaller vehicles. Taking a look at our taillights, they are partial LEDs, so our taillights are LEDs, but our brake lights and turn signals are regular bulbs. Nonetheless, still looks pretty good, all illuminated, and the lights almost stretch all the way across the trunk lid. We have the K4 emblem and then Kia emblem, of course. And right below your Kia emblem, you have the parking camera and a little button to release your trunk. And before we go any further, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my friends at Blazius Kia of Watertown, Connecticut, for providing me with this very cool K4 for filming purposes. And now that we've taken a look at kind of all the angles of the exterior, I want to hear from you, because this is definitely a funky styled car. Let me know what you think of the styling in the comments. Popping open the hood on the K4 reveals one single engine option at this time. Now, there will be a different engine option for the GT, but we are working with the 2-liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder engine, and it produces 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque, and everything's all connected to a CVT or continuously variable transmission, so one single speed and front-wheel drive only. But a pretty tidy engine package under here, and there's actually a very small engine cover, so you could see most of what's going on under here. We have a dipstick, we have our intake at the front, exhaust at the back, and it looks like a pretty simple and accessible engine to work on when this car gets a little bit older. Now, the hood is a little bit heavy, so just make sure you bring your muscles before you work on the car, and it is held up with a prop, and there's also some sound deadening material under here too. Popping open the trunk, it actually does pop open about a halfway so that you can easily just grab it from here and open it right up. And we have a nice wide opening, wide this way. I mean, it's a little bit short this way, but you can definitely fit some larger items in, and it's a pretty good sized trunk. I can definitely see fitting some golf bags from here to there, because we do have some cutouts, and you can also fold down your seats at a 60-40 split with these little tabs to either side. And I am happy to say that underneath the cargo floor, they still give you a donut-sized spare tire and tools. But that pretty much does it for the trunk. Very simple, but nice and roomy. And you can pull the trunk down, right down with this little tab here. Okay, our first glance at the interior is going to be with the rear, and I'm so glad I was able to position this car in the sun so that you could see this kind of jade green interior. Very, very neat looking interior. I could really only name a couple of cars that I've ever seen with a green interior, but this one has it, and that's why I chose to do this particular one. I think it's the coolest kind of exterior and interior combination available for this car now. But as far as materials go, back here we do have Hard Touch up here, but nice soft cloth and very soft leatherette where your arm is going to rest. Now we have a nice metal door handle, your window control, little bottle holder, and one of 6 speakers in the EX trim. Now taking a look at our rear seats, they are also green, kind of a greenish gray color. And they're very nice cloth, very, very soft, kind of almost a cotton feel to the seats, and they do have some stitching. And just keep in mind you can fold them down at a 60-40 split, but there is no center armrest for the rear passengers. Now the front seat is kind of positioned where I would drive, and I'm 5'10". So for a frame of reference, I definitely have plenty of space back here. There's quite the small hump for the exhaust to go back, so you could fit 3 people back here in a pinch. There's a quarter window too for extra visibility, grab handle, and illumination back here, as well as 2 USB-C chargers, a little bit of storage for some spare change, no air vents back here, but it is pretty roomy back here, I have to say. What do you think we go up front and check out all the tech? Now, interestingly enough, the driver's door is the only door in this vehicle that doesn't have a whole lot of green on it. As you can see, opposite from out back and also opposite from the front passenger door, is this part is all black. It's kind of to match up with the dashboard. The dashboard goes green kind of on the passenger side, and that's why the passenger side is green and not the driver's side. So very, very interesting design here. But nonetheless, the materials do improve up here, so you now have nice soft to the touch. Up here, of course, more cloth and leatherette. We have a lot more buttons and switches, all of your mirror adjustments, lock, unlock, and all your window controls too. We have a bit more storage up here and another speaker on the door. Now on the left of the dash, you can see the start of the giant screen in this car, and we also have your air vent, interior illumination or gauge cluster illumination, electronic parking brake, traction control on and off, and we can also make out the tilt and telescoping steering wheel release, hood release, and our pedals, and some pretty nice carpeted floor mats that clip in 2 spots. Now we do have a couple of levers down here for your trunk and fuel door release as well. Now the driver's seat definitely feels pretty comfy so far. Pretty cool looking headrest there, and nice design to the seats with stitching. It is 6-way manually adjusting, so we have the height here, backrest there, and a little bar to go back and forth with the seat. What do you say we hop in and check out the rest? Okay, so now that we're inside, you can kind of see the dashboard layout, and man, is it quirky looking in here. They look at the steering wheel, it's kind of a square, and we have this giant portion here that goes from your airbag cover into all of your buttons. Makes for a very interesting looking steering wheel. Even the controls are pretty interestingly laid out, but kind of intuitive too at the same time. And you could see that this part of the dash is green, and that goes into the passenger door. So very, very interesting interior, but I kind of like it. Even the key is pretty interesting looking. Take a look at that. It is the new style Kia key. So lots of them will come with this style key, but we've got the emblem on the back. We have the remote start on this side, and to the other side, we have the rest of our buttons. So we have lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic alarm. And in case you need a physical key, it is inside. Now to start, we do a push button start right next to your shifter. And that will bring everything to life here. Now we're going to go over the steering wheel first, and I kind of think it's interesting. It kind of brings you back to the 80s, 90s when some of the cars had like kind of offset emblems on the airbag cover. Now this one's got it, so kind of a retro look too to the steering wheel. But nice smooth leatherette and stitching on the inside. Very comfortable wheel to hold in your hands too. Now we have adaptive cruise control right over here with your lane keeping assist. We also have some informational buttons for the screen right in front of you, which we'll go over in just a minute. We also have our drive mode selector, which we have a normal and a sport mode for the car. And we also have all of your kind of media controls. So mode for the stereo, up and down for your presets, up and down for your audio volume, voice commands, Bluetooth phone controls, and kind of a programmable button that you can choose what you want to do with that. So that's pretty cool. Now behind the steering wheel, we have a couple of stalks, one for your turn signals, automatic high beams, and the rest of your headlights. And to the other side, we of course have our wipers. And that brings me up to the driver's information center right here. So very cool looking, pretty configurable, you know, kind of like over here and here are pretty much stay constant. There is a little control to adjust them slightly within the infotainment, but this is the one that I kind of find the best. We have our speedometer, tachometer over here, speed limit recognition or sign recognition, lane keeping assist visual there. We also have our distance to empty and fuel gauge, exterior temperature, and your coolant temperature, also what gear we're in right down there. So that's pretty cool. Now we can slightly adjust this screen with the scroll wheel and kind of the pages button. So if we go up and down, we can move from our trip computers to our tire pressures. Also a couple of other trip settings there, and if we press the little page button, we can go over to a driver's assistance screen. So once you have the lane keeping assist and all that good stuff active, it'll kind of show you that visual. That's pretty neat. Now up on the upper dash, it is all soft to the touch, and it's black all the way up until about here where it changes to green. And there's actually two different screens over here. There is a screen right here for your climate control, and then there's a totally separate screen for your infotainment. So that's a pretty cool look. Let's take a look at that climate control screen really quick. Now that it's on, you can see we have dual zone climate control up top. You can also see we can adjust the fan speed, also where the air comes out. We have our defrosters, recirculation, AC, and turning on the automatic function. But if we press this kind of like little 4 quadrants button, that'll expand the climate control to the full screen. So we have a couple more controls that we can adjust. We're actually going to turn this temperature down just a little bit here, and we can see kind of where the airflow is coming out. That's a pretty cool looking screen there. We can press X and get rid of that, and that takes us right to our infotainment right here. So very easy to get used to infotainment here. We have kind of 2 different home screens with all of your different apps. You can tap right here to kind of sign into different profiles. We can also swipe from the top here to get some quick commands such as brightness, split screen, turning the display off, and kind of like a quiet mode, which is pretty cool. We have our time over there, date right in the center. And if we go into our audio, let's turn that down. We could see our sources will show up right here, presets right over here, and then you can also see a split screen kind of with a compass right over there. Some other quick adjustments for home. Also, we have the phone screen, phone projection, which has to do with the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can also stick the car into a valet mode and also get some vehicle diagnostics. That's pretty cool. Switching it on over, we can see servicing and maintenance, notifications, a kind of a digital owner's manual, and a bunch of setup for the screen. So that's pretty cool. You can kind of go into the vehicle, kind of adjust all kinds of things there. All of your sound settings. connection for devices, the screen layout, cluster configuration. So that's pretty cool. And we can kind of go into a couple of different adjustments. So take a look at over here. We can kind of bring it into a circle, link it to the drive mode, give you a couple different styles, which is pretty cool. Kind of more of a sporty one, more laid back, and then a kind of like a highlighted one, I guess you could say. And we could also just toggle it back to the simple setup, and there's also a couple of styles for that one too. So that's pretty interesting. I actually kind of like style C on the simple gauge setup. So if you get one of these, you could follow my setup for the display there. So that's pretty cool. And then we also have a bunch of general settings here. But that pretty much is it for the screen. It's very simple, but a lot of stuff in there that you can kind of play around with and configure. Now down here we have some quick touch buttons for the screen there, and then we also have your audio volume right in the center. A couple of air vents just below, and right in the center you have your hazards. And we also have some quick access physical buttons for your climate control. So we have the temperatures for both sides, also your fan speed, and where you want the air to blow. So your essentials are in a physical kind of format, but you could also go up here and adjust it there too. Now taking a look down below, we have kind of our phone box over here. So we have wireless charging there with a couple of USB-C connections, and also a 12-volt power outlet. Down here we have some more green accenting on the top of our shifter, and we do have a nice reverse camera, a very clear look out to the rear with some settings that you can go into. You also have neutral, drive, and then you can also bump it over into a manual mode, and you can shift gears or kind of shift simulated gears like so. We have our auto hold feature, and also pulling up our parking camera at any time. Taking a look down here, we have a nice open kind of console over here, and in case you wanted cup holders, you can just press little push buttons and boom, you have cup holders. That's pretty neat. We have a pretty soft center console lid and a pretty decent amount of space in here in the center console with a nice soft bottom. Over here on the passenger side, we can see that kind of continuous, almost air vent style going into the passenger area. Some glossy trim, and also some kind of matte chrome trim too. Nice glove box, pretty decent amount of space. It is actually illuminated in there, and it's all soft plastic. Again, you can see the passenger side of the dashboard is green, and so is the passenger door, and the rest of the doors for that matter, except for the driver's door. Pretty interesting headrest design too. And one thing I forgot to mention is for the back, there's these little kind of humps. You can almost see them better from the front. And this is a great way to kind of grab the back of that seat and get out of the car, or even use it for a coat hanger. So that's pretty cool. The headliner is a light gray color, and we do have our visors with illumination, LED illumination, a nice big mirror, and the card holder. Couple of quick controls to round things out up top. We do have touch illumination up here, some more illumination controls, the Kia Connect and emergency buttons up here with your manual day and night mode mirror. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is there is a pretty small rear window. So if you take a look out back, it's a pretty small view out the very back of the vehicle, but blind spots not too present because there is quite a bit of glass on the side of the vehicle. Now that pretty much does it for all the features on the all-new 2025 Kia K4. I hope you have enjoyed this video just as much as the car itself, and I hope you stick with us here for that test drive, which the link should be popping up right about here. Thank you very much for watching.